Welcome back to Inside the Wubble, Part 2. I am here with Minnesota Lynx forward slash guard, if that's about right.
Yeah,
Bridget Carleton. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you on. Um, so I don't know if you watched the first episode. I actually did it with your teammate, Nafisa Collier. Um, Got to pick her brain a bit about just being inside the bubble and how things have been overall. I guess it's kind of like a touch base because at the end of the day, like obviously everybody's excited that sports are able to go on, but at the end of the day, like there was a big sacrifice that went into all the women that decided to play, and men in the NBA as well. Like you had to decide, I'm not going to be able to have as much freedom. You're stuck on the campus all day, and yes, I'm going to get like your insight and your opinion of being in the bubble, and let's get into it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first things first. So, Bridge, This is your first full season as a WNBA player, and it's funny because your first season, like you'll never forget this because you were in the bubble, and I guess for like an experience, what has the experience been like overall?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Definitely something we never thought would happen or have to happen. I think what it was nice for me is I joined the Lynx for the end of the season last year. I was with
Hmm.
them for about a month. So that was really helpful heading into this season, especially with like a 2-week training camp, when normally it's like almost a month long. And then like you just know everyone, you're kind of used to the systems, you know what the coaches expect, you know what your teammates are already like. So that was really helpful for me coming in here, and just being around my teammates all the time. But it's been good. I think like the league did a really good job of setting everything up, creating a safe environment for
Hmm.
us, and creating some things to do outside of basketball. So
Right.
it's been a good experience so far.
So not being able to actually like go anywhere because if anybody leaves, do you guys have like a hotline? So if somebody leaves the bubble, you can like tell them.
There's no hotline
There's no
that I know
hotline.
of anyway.
Now I know the NBA had a hotline, so I was like
Yeah.
curious if there might be one for the Wubble. But since you've been there, like what have been some of the activities you've done outside of going to practice or treatment and like basketball related activities?
Yeah, so there's a pool, which has been really nice. It's really hot here, obviously, so it's
Right.
been nice to get at the pool. And then the league offered some excursions, some team excursions.
Hmm.
So yesterday, actually, our whole team after practice, we went to a beach, a private beach area, and it was like outside of the bubble, which was kind of nice, just to like feel like we're living a normal
Right.
life again. But we were still safe. We weren't didn't see anybody in the public or anything. So that was a nice little getaway. There's golfing we can do. There's tennis
Hmm.
on campus. Yeah, so there's a variety of things. Movie nights. They try to keep us busy.
Do in the bubble, do they do like a like just activities that's like there's like a movie night that's all the players from all the teams are allowed to go to, like stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. You can like sign up. There's like yoga sessions in the mornings if you want to go to that. You just sign up, and any player can go and join that.
So what's like if you can go through like a typical day, like obviously not like practice, treatment, film, but after that point, like what is your day? What does Bridget Carleton's day consist of?
Yeah, well, we play almost every other day
Right.
basically. So like usually game day it's pretty straightforward like it normally is. But on our like off days, I mean, we still practice or have a walkthrough or watch film, like you said. But then after that, it's just like a lot of treatment, a lot of rest, just trying to like take care of our bodies, get our meals in. Every once in a while, if we have some downtime, we go out to the pool, get a little tan
Right.
on. But really it's I think rest and recovery is so important in this season, especially just because we're playing so much. That's like really all we're doing. Not much.
So how have you been able to I guess when as an athlete, as a former athlete and you're currently a professional athlete, I know there's like times where we kind of just need to exit the realm of our sport sometimes because it engulfs you because it's what you do all day. What is like your version of a release from basketball while you've been in the bubble because you can't really go anywhere?
Yeah, I think, well, the things I've been doing, is like enjoying some time at the pool is big for me. I love being in the sun, and then using FaceTime my family. They're always huge and helpful to get my mind off things. And what's nice is our team, we get along with each other really well, and we like spending time with each other. So, you know, we have a good balance of like talking about basketball, but like also setting that aside and just like having fun, talking about real life and just kind of forgetting things. So I think there's been a good balance so far.
So when you came, you came in from Canada, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So was the border closed when was the border still closed when you came to the bubble?
Yeah.
So how did that work? Like, how did you obviously like there's obviously ways, but like how did it work for you to be able to get to Orlando or Bennington? I think that's how you say it.
Yeah. For me, we had to get our work visa, which is kind of standard. That's always the case. When I was at school, I had a student visa. Now it's a work visa. And that process was pretty smooth for me. I know Kayla Alexander, who's also my teammate from Canada, she had some issues. I'm not really sure what went on, but I think because just like the offices were closed, things just weren't processing as they normally do. But so, yeah, it was pretty smooth for me. The only problem was I usually fly out of Detroit because I'm from like Southwestern Ontario.
Yeah.
So my parents weren't able to like drop me off in Detroit because they wouldn't have been able to cross the border. So I had to drive all the way to Toronto. So that was like the only problem that I had. But yeah, it was after that.
So I don't mean to look too far ahead, but you know, you played in Australia the past 2019. So 2019, you played in Australia, and are you still like with the virus? Have you had any thoughts about your next steps for like overseas or you know, I know some players may decide like they don't even want to take the risk, and even now, like I mean, we may not have a football season in America. Like it seems like a lot of athletes now are really deciding like, hey, this just doesn't seem right. And a lot of people are just deciding to do other things or opt out. What is like your take on going overseas after, you know, your experience in the Wubble?
Yeah, so I've actually already signed a contract.
Right.
I signed it in, I want to say May, maybe early May, to go to France. Not knowing kind of what this season was going to look like. I didn't like everything's obviously changed so much since May. So that'll be difficult. Again, you know, things can change every day. They seem to be changing, so they can still continue to change. But my plan for after this season is to go to France to play over there. So hopefully that works out.
So why the decision to go from France to Australia? You know, in Australia, they speak majority English. It's a little bit, I don't want to say like North American because it's not America at all, but it's easier to assimilate to a place like Australia coming from English-speaking countries like Canada and America, and then going from Australia to France. Why the decision to go to a different place overseas?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is the Australian League isn't even allowing any imports this next year.
Wow.
Yeah, because of the pandemic and everything that's going on. But I wasn't really planning on going to Australia anyway. A lot of my national team teammates play in France. They have really good experiences there. It's a good league, solid money. You get paid on time. Good living. So all those things are kind of important to me, and so I thought I would, you know, take another adventure.
Nah, it sounds dope. I mean, I always say like, if you're gonna have the opportunity to explore the world, you might as well go do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely worth the experience. It's never not a bad idea to expand your horizons. I would say, right?
For sure. Just 1 year, I can. If it's horrible, I just won't go back the next year. But
Right. No. Right. No, no doubt, no doubt. So is your team in France, are you playing with anybody you're familiar with, like anybody you've played in maybe on a national team or college or against in college, even in Australia or in WNBA?
No, I don't know anybody on my team.
Oh,
So
okay.
that'll be interesting. So I'll be joining late and I'll have to introduce myself to everyone. So it'll be interesting. But
That's good. It's all good.
yeah.
So I do want to ask just your take, because obviously we know, you know, this last, I want to say like, what are we in August now? So the pandemic, I want to say shut down like our two countries maybe in what, March, end of March, right?
Yeah.
Going into now we're in August and we're still been dealing with it. But amongst the pandemic, obviously the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, police brutality and social injustice against people of color in America has been a problem since this country's installment. And as a woman who has been associated with the WNBA, you've had, you are amongst a melting pot of different people, sexualities, um, and you wear the Breonna Taylor on the back of your jersey, and obviously I've watched your Instagram. I mean, we follow each other. I've seen the posts you've put in your story supporting Black Lives Matter. As somebody who isn't Black but is very supportive of the movement, which is, in my opinion, so important, because that we need allies. It's not just one person's fight or any one group's fight. This is one of those, like, we're all in this together, and taking a stand with like your black teammates, and so being supportive of that. What is it like? What has it meant to you? What has it been like to be a part of, like, this is historic stuff. Like, this will be things we talk about 10, 15, 20 years from now when people talk about this moment in the WNBA. And how has that been being a part of?
Yeah, it's been, like, I think really, we're a part of a really special group of WNBA players. Like you said, our league has a history of fighting for what's right. It hasn't just started since George Floyd's death. Like, it's been ongoing for a variety of things, a variety of reasons. So I think to be a part of a league that is so passionate about fighting for what's right, and you just feel so empowered and so, like, motivated to, make the world a better place, essentially, is what we're doing, which is so cool. And like you said, I think it's important for me to be an ally, and not just an ally, but someone that's, like, actively, making a difference every day. And it's, like, not just what I'm posting on social media, but also my daily conversations with my family, friends, with the people I'm around. I think that's been so important, and it's really, my outlook on basically the whole world, and the US, Canada, it's all, it's everywhere. It's not just in the US. It happens to Indigenous people in Canada, the same situations. So I think it's really special to be a part of this league that is fighting for so much more than just, playing basketball. And I think it's cool, like, us all being in this bubble, I think is just amplifying our voice even more, which is a really cool opportunity that we've had that we've never had before. So
I think the coolest thing about this too is, and kudos to the players, because, when the bubble for the NBA and the WNBA happened, a lot of people were like, well, if we go into the bubble, does this mean, like, we're going to be quiet? Like, we're not going to still be able to, tackle some of the issues that we are facing in the world? And it's like, it honestly feels like it never stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like, it genuinely feels like, there's been times where, like, the movement is strong, or let me not say, because I don't actually believe, like, Black Lives Matter is a movement. I think this is, like, things that, like, it's a lifestyle. Like, this is what happens to Black people. This is not something that's in the moment. Like, this has been going on. But, the league has not silenced themselves. You guys have been as vocal as possible. And what's your take on the league not being silent? And how does it feel to be a part of a league that wholeheartedly supports your right to protest as a human being?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and we're really thankful. I know all the players are super thankful that we have a league, a commissioner, that a players association that is so willing to work with us and, help us out in what we're trying to accomplish with this season. And I think above all of that, I think, like, we're role models for kids.
Right.
We're showing them that it's okay to stand up, to speak out, to put yourselves out there for what's right and what you believe in, and how you think the world should be. So, like, beyond, what we're standing for, the fact that we are standing up, the fact that we are speaking out and putting ourselves out there, I think can say a lot and show a lot for these young boys and girls who are watching us.
And I want to commend you, Bridget, because, I've had conversations with, I have friends that are white, and I have friends of all different races. And, I had a conversation with a friend once, and he was essentially saying, like, every time I post about Black lives or post about what's going on, he said, I feel like sometimes, like, since I'm white, maybe I'm not allowed to say as much because it looks like I'm following a trend instead of really being passionate about it. And my thing was like, listen, man, if you believe in something, you just believe in it. It's not, nobody's looking at your color. I said, I'd be more offended as your friend if you felt like you couldn't talk about it, because that means you have some sort of like, maybe like a fear, or you don't really believe in what's going on. And, after that conversation, everything changed. The reason I'm telling you the story, because I want to ask you, as somebody who is white, and you have been vocal and have stood by what's been going on and fighting for racial injustice. Have you ever felt like you've had to have like conversations with like maybe your family or friends who aren't Black or aren't of color? Like, listen, this is what's really going on, and this may be uncomfortable for you to hear, but this is the truth.
For sure. And I think like what I mentioned before, being an ally, being like an active member of society that's trying to like make a difference, I think uncomfortable conversations are going to be had. And I have been like, not necessarily trying to seek those out, but like if they're available, like
right.
I'm going to step in. They're uncomfortable for me. They're going to be uncomfortable for you. And it has to be said.
Right.
It has to be done. Those are the conversations that have to be had. And like you said about your friend who like maybe felt uncomfortable about posting about, Black lives and this movement. I think like you can't care what anyone else is thinking.
Right.
You need to do what you feel is right. Do what you feel will make a difference. And then have these conversations, and then you'll learn more and more. But yeah, I think it's huge to just, be strong and be willing to be uncomfortable.
Nah, no doubt. I think the thing is, if you're speaking truth, even if the conversation may feel a bit uncomfortable to whoever you're presenting it to, it's still important because it's progress.
Yes.
It's the dialogue is what's important. And even like with me having, doing this has been major for me because, I never wanted to I don't want to stop the conversation. And it's great to, do my part, and, we do our part in, keeping the conversation alive, because people watch this and they take things from it. So I think it's, everybody who believes in what's going on, it is important that we all do our part in making sure the conversation keeps going. Because if it dies down, then, the quote unquote movement, it stops, and you don't want it to ever stop. So
for sure.
Shout out to you, Bridge, for real. Like, it means a lot, for real. So moving on, you played in a game with like fan noise and lights, and it looks like from a TV perspective, no lie, like it looks like you guys are in like a stadium, and people because you can hear the noise on the TV, like you can hear crowd noise on the television and the sound effects. What is it like playing on like this like this souped up basketball court with all these amenities, but there's nobody really there watching you?
Yeah, it's strange. I think I'm used to it now because we're like 4 games in.
Yeah.
But the first couple games, like it gets quiet in there, like on free throws, timeouts, like when there's moments where there's not music playing or like extra noise, it's like dead quiet. There's maybe like 50 people actually in the gym. Like it is so strange. But yeah, I mean, we're bringing our own energy, and I think, it's a weird environment, but we get used to it. It's definitely weird though.
So can I ask you this? Let me ask you a question. So I just read recently that Jarrett Temple of the Brooklyn Nets, he actually spoke to some Houston Rockets players and about how to beat the Bucks. And today, I don't know if you know, but the Nets beat the Bucks by 3. And obviously on paper, that's not the expectation of the two teams, especially, there's no Kyrie, there's no KD, and I think Jamal Crawford got hurt in the game. So, you're missing a lot of big pieces, and they still managed to pull it off. So my question to you is, do teams, do you have those conversations with other players from different teams about like what to expect from a certain team when you play them? Is there like a lot of, because this is like a big AAU tournament, like you're like a giant AAU tournament. So do you have conversations about other teams, or maybe take some from another team? Like, you guys, when you play Las Vegas, you might want to do this. Or when you play Seattle, you might want to try this. Do you have those conversations with other players in the bubble?
Yeah, I think so. Like those conversations probably would happen normally, like through text or like over a phone call, like normally in a normal season. But I think
Yeah,
now, especially, it's so easy to just like be hanging out at the pool. Someone comes over, you
right.
start a little small talk, and then hey, we start talking about a team that we're playing next. So I think they do happen more frequently in the bubble, just because everyone's
Mhm.
here. You're passing by everyone every
Right.
day. So that is unique. But again, we all know each team pretty well. We scout, we watch film and do all of that, but definitely probably more conversations that are happening.
What has been like your favorite, some people, the bubble might not be your favorite thing. And for some players, it's really not. Like nobody wants to be stuck on a campus for as long as you are. But what has been like the most interesting or best part about being in the bubble? If something that you enjoy.
Hmm. The best part, honestly, it might be cliche to say, but like just being around my teammates,
Hmm.
people who I like actually enjoy being around
Hmm.
all the time, which has been good. And just getting to know them. Like you said, it's kind of hard to, get away from the game at times,
Yeah.
and that can be hard. But I think just spending time with people that you enjoy being around, you really have no other choice. You can't
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's been fun. And the pool, the weather, that's all good too.
Have you started anything new, like any new hobby or anything like maybe a Netflix show, something that's like has you've been doing like past the time while you've been in the bubble?
Yeah, Netflix has been big. I'm watching a lot of Below Deck on TV. Me and Rachel
Okay.
Bannum sit on our couch and watch stupid shows like that. But yeah, just random things to keep passing the time.
So I asked Nafisa this the last time, but I'm gonna ask everybody who comes on. If there's one thing you miss about being like if you were to pop the bubble and be outside, what is like the one thing you miss most?
My family, but that's an easy one to say too.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, my sister's dog, I miss him a lot. That's a big one. Like probably just as much as my sister.
Right.
But yeah, probably my family. I think everything else, food you can order in, you can
Right.
do anything you need there. But yeah, just
I think the thing that's like really cool about this bubble though is at the end of the day, all the players in there have played in college. So you're used to having to be with your teammates on like a 23-hour consistency. So that is the one thing I will say. I feel like, a lot of players get to go back and kind of enjoy like maybe that like college experience again of like you're with your teammates all the time. You see them all day, every day. And you may get tired of them, but they're like your family. So you deal with it. And I feel like that's one thing I have noticed. I don't know if that, you may feel like that, but just an
for sure.
observation.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because yeah, you're living with them, you go to practice with them, you eat dinner
Right.
with them, all same. It's very similar to college for sure.
Has anybody tried to sneak onto the bubble yet? Like, how is it like coexist? Because you guys aren't the only ones on the bubble, right? I know the students are still there, and some of the people still work there. So, what has it been like? Are you like cut off from the other like players and students, or are you kind of like all just immersed with each other?
Yeah, we're pretty secluded from them. It's a big campus.
Hmm.
There's some camps going on.
Right.
Students are starting to come back, I think. But they all live like in a totally different part of campus than we're living at. And then they don't have access to like our gym or
Right.
anything like that. So we are pretty separated. But we do see them like on the street. We'll wave
Hmm.
to them. But yeah, they're definitely around.
So, looking at this season, how's it feel playing? How's it been playing? What is like some of the goals for the team this year? You guys look really good starting out. So, like, what is some of the things you're looking forward to most about this season? And even for yourself personally, like, what is the growth you're looking for out of yourself as a player?
I think as a team, I mean, the goal is always to win a
Right.
championship. We want to, finish top two, make the playoffs, and then, see what we can do in the playoffs.
Hmm.
Individually, I think, last year, I kind of was everywhere last year. I got
Right.
drafted to Connecticut, ended up getting cut like a month into the season, got
Hmm.
picked up by Minnesota. So now, like, I'm sensing like I'm more comfortable, I'm more
Hmm.
confident on the court. So now
Yeah.
just taking that next step, more playing time, like making an impact when I get into the game, which I think I've been able to do the first 4 games. So looking to
Hmm.
build on that going forward. But yeah, just helping my team in whatever way I can and get some wins.
Do you think playing in Australia helped your game going into the WNBA season?
Yeah, I think it helped my game, but I think it also helped me just mature and understand what it's like to be a professional athlete
Right.
and how to take care of my body, how to, rest and recover, but also push myself. I think,
Yeah.
in college, everyone tells you what to do, when to eat,
Right.
what to eat, when you're working out, what you're doing. So I think just learning that and then applying that to this WNBA season has been helpful.
No doubt, because I've watched. I'm a legitimate fan of the WNBA. I watch a lot of games, and people don't know this, but I actually covered a few of your games in Australia,
Mhm.
and I've personally been able to see like the growth of you as a player, and I think a lot of it is confidence.
Mhm.
And what do you think? What do you think is attributed to like you being more confident as a player?
Yeah, I think my maturity, through Iowa State in college, I was comfortable. I was
Mhm.
confident. I played really well my senior year, and then taking that next level to the pro level, it was just like another step. Players bigger,
Right.
faster, stronger, and then I just had to like find what I was good at this level, and I think I was able
Mhm.
to find that last year as a rookie, and then this overseas season in Australia, and then
Mhm.
my work with the national team too helped a lot.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think like I feel like night and day different, like compared to
Right.
12 months ago.
Right.
Hmm.
Nah, no doubt. I definitely have seen the growth myself, and it's actually been fun. Like a lot of like I have players that I've that played in the obviously in the WNBL. Like I saw Mercedes Russell playing the other day, and it's like wow, like I really covered them, and then they're playing in the WNBA is like it's really cool, and a lot of and seeing like the development too. Like your game is translating. Like the things you put into work in Australia are obviously starting to translate now to the WNBA, which is fun to watch.
Yeah.
But overall, Bridget, thank you so much for coming on Inside the Wubble Part 2. Um, good luck the rest of the way. It's probably
Yeah.
not the last time we'll be talking. But thank you so much for coming Inside the Wubble. I appreciate it so much. Do you have
No
a game
problem.
tomorrow? Do you have a game tomorrow?
Game tomorrow
Yeah,
against New
so
York.
yes, yes. So, get ready. Tell Kia I said hello. And
Thank you.
no problem. And I'll see you soon.
I will.
Bye.
Sounds good.
See you
Thanks for having
later.
me on.